Okay, kids. You guys are all being watched. There's number 9. You know how to do. 10 is review. 11, we've done. 13, you have done. 14 and 15. So all of these from 15 through 9, this little chunk is review. And this stuff is new. And there's problem 1. The answer is I over 3. Once more, we are trying to eliminate the I in the bottom. You'll see every one of them has an I. You can't just erase it. You have to go through a mathematical process. And the mathematical process is to multiply by I until we get to numbers 6, 7, and 8. They're worked out a little differently because they're binomials on the bottom. But back to number 3. I don't want to multiply by 5i, although you could. I'm going to multiply it by I and I. Then I write down my equal sign or an arrow, whatever you prefer. I'm going to go the bottom route first. 5i times I is 5i squared. I squared is -1. Here's our I chart. I squared is -1, so this becomes 5 times -1. And that gives me a -5 on the bottom. I don't have an I on the bottom anymore. Now I work on the top. I have to distribute the -2. Some of you may have an easier time if you do this. -2 minus 2i times I is -2i. -2i squared. -2i minus 2i squared. I squared is -1, so I make my little conversion. -2i, -2 times -1. -2i plus 2. And then I asked myself if I could reduce anything. I cannot reduce anything. I don't have I in the bottom. I don't really like that negative sign right here. So you could convert everything if you like. But if that's too confusing for you, you can leave it as is. So if you're ever stuck on a standardized test, they may give you an answer as positive 2i minus 2 over 5. You can keep either answer, but if you're really happy with the first one, they're both perfectly fine. But this one over here is the more acceptable one. Okay, so problem 1, check. Problem 3, check. Now, we'll do 5 together. Don't worry about the negative sign right there. That's -i. That's no big deal. You could actually, before you even began, you could change all these signs to make that I positive, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to multiply this by I and this one by I. On the bottom, I get negative I squared. My I chart tells me that I squared is -1, so now I have -1, and that is simply +1. Now you work the top. If it's hard for some of you to put that next answer in the blank, I suggest going to a sheet like this and put the I in front and distribute -5i, +5i squared. We shut that door over there. Who is that talking this is? Huh? Plus 5i squared. You recall from your I chart, I squared is -1. So if you just, now I realize many of you can just do one step, boom, you're done with the answer. I understand, I recognize, I applaud you. Many of us can't do that, so you gotta go step by step. My next step is to make that -1. -1 times 5, that's -5. But nothing changes here. You can't add those numbers up there. Our whole objective is to eliminate the I in the denominator. So I would write -5i plus 5 times -1, -5i minus 5. I don't like the 1 on the bottom. I don't need the 1 on the bottom, so I'm just going to simply write -5i minus 5. And that would be my answer. Check. Yeah. No, it's not wrong if you leave the 1 on the bottom. All right. Yes. No. So now I go to 6, 7, and 8. I'll just keep my same pattern here. So what you want to do is you're going to multiply by the opposite of this binomial, which is 3 plus 5i. So you do this, 3 plus 5i, bottom, top. On this one above it, you would be multiplying by 1 minus 6i and 1 minus 6i, called the conjugate of the denominator. All you got to do is change that sign. All right. I'll let you fiddle with that guy. I'm going right here to number 7. So that's a little longer line because there's more terms. You have to be able to FOIL this. Now, if you want to do it on a box, that's fine. And then put the answer. I'm going to put all 4 terms for you so you can see them. So I do this. 3 times 3 is 9. -5i times 3 is -15i. And then I go the outside route, 3 times 5i, right here. See the 3 times 5? This 3 times that 5, that gives you positive 15. These inside-outside terms will always cancel. And then I do the last term, -5 times positive 5, -25 I squared. Take your little pencil and you can cancel. So then I have 9 minus 25 times -1. I'm not skipping a step. That's 9 plus 25. And 9 plus 25 is 35, take away 1. 34. Got the bottom done. Okay. I tried not to put a binomial up on top, although they're out there. I'm not going to worry about it as long as we understand the concept. I'll keep these as monomials here. So on this one, I'm going to take 1 times 3. I know we can all do that, so I'm distributing. And then 1 times 5 is 5i. That part's easy. The bottom is harder than the top. And then I just carry it over. And then I carry it over. And I carry it over. And you're done. Yeah. I don't understand the question. Repeat it. Yeah, but nobody in here knows what the sum of 2 squares is except you. So if you would like to see it, here's what he's talking about. Okay. And the difference of squares. So if you're going to multiply these out, this says a times a is a squared plus ba minus ba. These two will always cancel. And then you square the last term, which is negative b squared. So it's a squared minus b squared. There's a modified one with specifically the I, which is a plus b squared times a minus b squared equals a squared plus b squared. Yeah, that's fine. But the majority of these kids haven't learned it, and I don't have 2 days to teach it to them. So I'm just going to let them go ahead and FOIL it out. 3 minus 5i times 3 plus 5i. So there's 3 minus 5i. There's 3 plus 5i. So what I did right here for all of you, I worked sideways. You could actually put it back into a box like this. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 5 is 15i. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15i. Here's where these two cancel out. That's the same thing with this little red circle. And negative 5 times 5 is negative 25i squared. That's that guy right there. So these inside-outside terms will always cancel. Okay? So, good question, by the way. Feel free to do that or use that little formula that you just mentioned. There's those first 4 problems. I think you are prepped on everything else. Let's go ahead and kick out number 10, though, just for fun. So you go ahead and try it. I'm going to give you a 30-second head start. Number 10, go. Okay, there's your little 30-second head start. So now, once again, for some of you, you can pick this apart in your head. You can say, hey, something plus something minus something plus something. No multiplying on this. These two go together. Those two go together. Some of you can do that. Some of you have to write it out, which would look like this. Take off the parentheses. Negative 6 plus 2i minus I, which is 1i plus 5. Negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. And 2i minus I is I. So I put my answer all together. I get negative 1 plus I. Hands up if you got that answer before I showed you the answer. Kind of gives me a little visual representation. All right, good job, good job. The rest of the time is yours, although there's not much time. I'm going to close out this video. I will post this.